Hello, mathematicians. Welcome to my channel. Do you need help with evaluating expressions? Well, look no further. I got you. In this video, we'll learn how to evaluate expressions. Right here is where you get help with math. Well, welcome to my channel. My name is Aline, also known as your mobile math mom. Here is where you'll be inspired, educated, and informed. You'll not only get help with math, but you'll be introduced to mathematicians you may not know about. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome and thank you for stopping by. But if you are returning, welcome back and thank you for your support. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll be the first to know when I upload new content. As always, let's get started with our affirmation. Say this with me: I am fearfully and wonderfully made. The mold was broken when I was created. There's nothing I can't conquer or achieve if I believe. I am purposeful, powerful, and absolutely prosperous. I am dressed for success and destined to progress. Now let's get at this math. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our content. Let me share my screen with you. Just a second. Alrighty. Technology, gotta love it. All right, so let's start off first by defining what an expression is. Now, an expression consists of numbers, variables, and operations. And you're probably wondering, okay, what numbers? Any numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.5, 2.25 numbers. All right. So 1, 2, 3. And I know this sounds elementary, but we're going to go into something. What may be new to you is variables. Now, in elementary school, you may remember where you had something like 2 plus, and then there was a box equals 5. And you had to fill in the box, right? Okay, well, now that we're dealing with algebra, that box gets replaced with a letter or an alphabet, and it's called an unknown. So instead of having the box, we're going to replace that box with a variable. Now, this is not an expression, this is an equation. All right, and we'll talk about the difference between the two in just a second. And then it consists of operations. So the operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and you may have an exponent, right? But an exponent is just glorified multiplication, right? All right. So again, an expression consists of numbers, variables, and operations, right? Now, the difference between, I'll give you a little preview. The difference between an expression and an equation is an equal sign. If I was to write this as an expression, it would be 2 plus x, right? We wouldn't have the equals 5. 2 plus x equals 5 now turns this into an equation. Notice the difference? An equation has an equal sign, all right? But let's not get confused. Just wanted to point that out. So variables are letters. You can have an X, an M, a P, a z, a y, those are variables. All right, next. All right, so when we're going to evaluate an expression, what we do is we substitute. Substitute means that you want to take something and replace it with something else. So here we have 2 plus x. This is our number. This is our operation. And this is our variable. Variable, operation, number. All right. Now we want to write 2 plus x when x equals 10. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this x with the number 10. And now I'm going to come up with an answer, which is 12. So when I evaluate 2 plus x, 2 plus x, when x is 10, my evaluation is 12. All right, let's look quickly at the next one. All right, again, I'm going to substitute. I'm going to substitute everywhere that I see the variable m. I'm going to substitute in a 15, right? So I have 15 minus 5. Notice I'm not putting an equal sign because this is not an equation. If you did not start with an equal sign there, don't put one in there, all right? When I evaluate 15 minus 5, my answer is 10. So m minus 5 when m equals 15 is 10. All right, let's look at the next one. Now I have a fraction. I know you guys always freak out when you see fractions. You're like, oh my God, it's a fraction, it's a fraction. Fractions are your friend. We're going to deal with this. All right, so this is 30 divided by y, but I'm going to replace this y with a 2. So 30 divided by 2. What does that equal? I'm saying equal, but 30 divided by 2, when I evaluate that, I end up with 15. So 30 divided by y when y equals 2 is 15. All right, let's go to the next one. If you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat and I will be sure to get back to you and answer them, okay? You got this. You all are smart. Okay. So now I have 40p. Uh-oh. You're probably wondering, what's the operation? Well, when you see a variable and a number next to one another, your operation is multiplication. So my operation is multiplication. All right, so 40, and I'm going to do something a little fancy. I wouldn't put 40 and then 0.5 because that looks, I don't know what that's doing, right? That's kind of confusing. So I'm going to use parentheses. Watch this. When I put a parenthesis around 40 and a parenthesis around 0.5, I'm multiplying, all right? This is new. So whenever you see a variable and a number next to one another, that does not mean just drop that term or this number into the P and it becomes 44 or 400.5. No, that's not what it means. What it means is that 40 gets multiplied times 0.5. Okay, so whenever a variable and number together, that means multiplication, right? All right, so let's multiply 40 times 0.5. Well, 0.5 is the same as 1/2, right? So what's half of 40? 20. So 40 times P, when P equals 0.5, the evaluation is 20. Just remember, this is 40P. So when you say 40P, you're actually saying 40 times P. All right. Next one. All right. This is an exponent. Now, an exponent means that you're going to multiply whatever the number is times itself that many times. For example, this says x squared when x equals 10. All right, so we have 10 raised to, and you may have done this in middle school, 10 to the second power, right? That doesn't mean 10 times 2. I've seen that a lot. It's not the same. This is 10 times 10. That's not the same as 10 times 2. So remember, whenever you have an exponent, you're going to multiply that number that many times itself. All right. So 10 times 10 is 100. And let me show you a trick. If you multiply the first two numbers times themselves, if it ends in 0, and then you put the same number of zeros behind it. So 10 times 10, 1 times 1 is 1. And how many zeros do you see? 2. That's a little trick. All right. All right. Now, what if I had x to the 5th power when x equals 2? Well, this is 2 to the 5th power. And then that means I need to multiply 2 times, now you can sometimes put a dot in between your numbers or variables, times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so I am multiplying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s. I start off on the left. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 times 2 is 32. All right. So 2 to the 5th power, notice I'm putting an equal sign with an arrow. I'm not putting equal, is 32. All right. Cool. Let's get to the next one. I believe this is our last one. All right. Now remember, I said a number and a variable together means multiply. So I have 5h cubed, right? In elementary school or middle school, you would say to the 3rd power. But when you get to high school or get to algebra, you'll generally hear cubed, squared. Cubed or squared. All right. Squared is to the 2nd power. Cubed is to the 3rd power. So I have 5 times. Now, what is 2? Let me put a parenthesis around this. All right. H is 2. So I'm going to put 2 cubed, right? Now, I know what you want to do. You want to multiply 5 times 2 and then cube it, right? Because you're used to going from left to right or left to right. Well, order of operations, and this is just like a little segue into what we're going to be doing in the next lesson. Order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And we'll talk about that later. So exponents are first. I know. It says parentheses, but only if there's something in parentheses with an operation between the two terms. This is multiplication. So we have 2 cubed, and 2 cubed is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. And then we have 5 times 2. All right, 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. I know you're tempted to say 6, right? 2 times 2 is 4. And then 4 times 2 is 8. Now I have 5 times 8. And what is 8 times 5? 40. So 5h cubed, when h is 2, is 40. All right, so that's it. So in this lesson, what we've learned is what? We've learned how to evaluate expressions. So now I hope you know how to evaluate expressions. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. Excuse me, if you have any questions about any of the problems that we did today, drop them in the chat. And if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up and share this video with somebody else who may need help with math. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're aware of any new content that I upload to the channel. And don't forget to come back if you need help with math. This is your mobile math mom, signing out.